Hello and welcome to the Wickham Art Room. My name is Mrs. Keidel and I am the art teacher here at Wickham Elementary. I also teach at Alexander here in the Iowa City Community School District. Today we have a sub-lesson for creative cats. And everybody's going to get a little bit of a guideline sheet, but what you put inside that is going to be completely up to you. For these creative cats, we want to think about a couple different details, some elements of art that we know, and when we are finished, they should be bold, charismatic, and have lots of personality. So, here we go. All right. So when everybody gets started today, you will be receiving a little template. And this is going to have just a very simple outline of a cat. And this outline, even you will be able to make adjustments to, add on to. And if you really want to today, you might even select a second sheet where you can cut and glue a tail or whiskers onto your cat. Otherwise, we will be doing all of that work within our drawings. Now today, every table is going to get a little handout. And this lovely little handout is going to have some examples for us to reference. There might be some ideas that you want to borrow from multiple pages. Try not to copy exactly what you see. This is for ideas. And all of you have very different personalities, just like your cats will. So the first page has some doodle heads, and this has lots of great examples of how eyes can look, how you might fill in the ears and draw the mouth of your cat. But there's lots of spunky and funky little kitty cats on here. The second page is just eyes. You might want to have some really expressive eyes on your cat. So how you want to show what that cat is thinking or feeling, you can do a lot of that expression within the eyes. The very last page, we have an example of how you could do a pattern cat. Some of you might want to get way past just drawing a cat with a very expressive face, and you might want to fill the whole thing in. So when we talk about elements of art that we know and we use all the time, within a pattern cat, you might use lines to fill that cat in. You can use patterns to use shapes as well, or repeat certain line combinations. Depending on what you use too, it might create some cool textures. When we're all done with our drawings today, everyone will also add the element of art, color. We want these cats to be nice and filled in. And no cat should just be only lines. We should see some color, but we've also got a nice example here on our last page. These packets might be very helpful to you, or you might have your own ideas going on in your noggin. So if you want to use it, go for it. Otherwise, you can get going for your drawing. Now, when you get your papers today, we're going to start off with just the cat sheet. If you want the extra one, your sub will have this for you to take. Maybe we'll pass them all out at the same time, but just know this is an option. Not needed if you don't want it. Everyone today is going to start with pencil. We will draw out all of our details of our cat first, and then we will get Sharpies to trace all those lines. When you are done drawing today with pencil first, then tracing in Sharpie, you will have the options of using crayons, markers, or colored pencils. If you're going to use your colored table caddy for markers here, you have a couple different options and sizes and some Mr. Sketch markers as well. Just remember that when we use Mr. Sketch markers, whoops, that blue, oh, how sad, that blue got pushed in. Be gentle to these. Just remember when you're using a Mr. Sketch marker, they have a chisel tip. So color appropriately for the area you're filling in. If you want to use just the point of the chisel, you will use smaller areas. Otherwise, that long, nice chisel line will help you to fill in bigger areas with smooth lines. Before I draw my little example here today, I have some completed examples that I've created. Example number 1 has a kitty cat with all of the whiskers and tail drawn on. This is a very suspicious cat. He's saying meow to us. I like adding some bubbles for words, some word quote bubbles. You might also see in one of my next examples we have kind of thought bubbles as well. And I even kind of added a little cat pun that says, "You've cat to be kidding me." So however you want to create your cat, maybe you'll add in what your cat is saying or what your cat is thinking, or maybe a fun little quote to help show what kind of personality or emotion your cat is having. For my second example, we're going to see those thought bubbles here. This cat is kitty daydreaming about her next meal, some more yummy fish. She's got some eyes that are looking up. Her body is very waved out, and the line work here shows that. But this is another great example of how you might fill in your cat today. My last example kind of matches the last page of our little packet. And this cat says, "I'm full of design." And I used lines and some patterns here as well to fill in the whole body of this cat. And I even added some little fishy drawings to show that some fish are inside of my kitty's tummy. So add some pattern, write meow, if that is what you're feeling today. So those are 3 examples of how your cat might kind of look before you color it in. But remember that we will start off with just pencil today. So whatever kind of face you're thinking, do remember that kitty's ears aren't just flat. They might round out on the head, and you're going to decide how that ear kind of fills in. If you add a second line, it's going to show a little dimension. It's going to show that a kitty's ear goes inside of their head so they can hear. For the eyes, depending on how you want their personality and emotion to be, you're going to draw them either very slim if they're kind of suspicious, big if they're wide and excited. I'm thinking big and excited for these eyes. Now some cats might have circle, like cornea or the blacks of their eyes, but a lot of them have that very slanty, slim line. So I'm going to draw them kind of like that today. I'm also going to give this cat kind of an eyelid. So I'll draw another line up on the top. To make a nose and a mouth for a cat, you can use a couple different shapes, maybe a circle or an upside down triangle. I like to use a little triangle shape because kitty cats have those kind of pointed off little noses. And then depending on how you want your mouth to be, you will draw 2 curvy lines down. Now I want this cat to be excited, big-eyed, and happy. So I will also draw a curvy U line, half of an oval, for the rest of the mouth. But I can't forget about those whisker designs. Now, if you're someone who's going to want to cut and glue some big old whiskers or a tail, you won't need to draw it. You'll do that next step later. But I am going to do all of my drawing today, and I do encourage you to do that if that's what you're feeling. So I might draw some little dots to show where those whiskers are coming out of, and then have the whiskers curve off of the face. A kitty's whiskers are going to come off of their face because this is how they know where they will fit. Their whiskers are their gauge of where their bodies can go. If this cat's big and excited, he's got his mouth open, maybe we'll see some teeth, maybe even a little tongue, and then we'll be ready to move down to the body. Now, kitties normally have different color fur. Maybe yours will be the same color throughout, but if your kitty's belly is going to have a different color, you might use a line to show where that color's changing. If my cat is excited, the tail should show that. It's not going to just wrap down and be kind of flimsy. It will be nice and up. And we've seen in our example kitties, their tails might be drawn a little differently. One is really wavy, one's kind of curling up. For this one, I think I'm even thinking they're so excited it's going to zigzag a little. Now, a cat's not going to have a really sharp tail, but it will still be zigzaggy if that's the kind of line you're looking for. Now, at this point, I can decide, am I going to do all my details in my coloring, or do I want to make a pattern kitty cat? How am I going to fill this in? Maybe you'll keep it simple in one area and do patterns in the other. Or vice versa. Maybe you'll keep a tummy nice and simple and do patterns all the way around. But I think I might just do some patterns in the belly and leave the body all by itself. Going to start off with some kind of scale lines where we always start in the middle of the bottom of a U and just kind of go across. Maybe I'll move into some circles to transition. So going from lines to shapes. Again, I think I'm going to do kind of 2 lines of each pattern to help me fill in as I go. Now I'm thinking I want something more pattern-like. So I'm going to stick with shapes, but I'm going to have an alternating shape pattern. You'll just keep moving and a-grooving all the way down. If you need to peek at your packet to see things you can add, go for it. Otherwise, just let your creativity help you to make your creative cat.